Why are all of our buyers losing so much weight?
I'm not sure.
Because every time they speak to us, they lose a couple million pounds.
With Dubai, it's very dependent on where you're investing, what areas, what
Yeah,
projects.
not everything is gold. Yeah.
Energy levels are just higher here. And I think that's from the people around you and the atmosphere that's creating in the office. Everyone's 24/7 and you don't want to be left behind at all here.
You know, you've been with London's property market as well. So what's the change?
10 times faster.
Hello and welcome to the second episode of Britspective. I'm here with Dominic Murphy from LEOS Developments, who's from some random town in the UK. Oh wait, London.
London, yeah,
okay.
Northwest London.
So not a random town anymore. This is the series where I'm trying to speak to a lot of British people who are in Dubai or are planning to move to Dubai and see what their perspective is about this place. So would you like to just introduce yourself?
So yeah, I'm Dominic. Obviously, I work for LEOS Developments. I've been in Dubai now coming up to a year. Thank you for having me on.
All right. Before we get on to the serious stuff, I just thought, I'll since I don't get to go to stand up anymore, I'll do some jokes with you. So bear with me. I want your honest reaction. Okay.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
Okay. What do you call someone who's kind of from Britain?
I don't know.
British.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Okay.
It's fine. This
I'm
is
just being polite on that one.
This is ChatGPT. This is not me. So my mind are the last two jokes. What did the Brits say to their European trade partners after Brexit?
What did they say?
See you later.
It's okay. It's okay.
ChatGPT again.
Okay.
Why are all of our buyers losing so much weight?
I'm not sure.
Because every time they speak to us, they lose a couple million pounds.
Yeah, sounds about right.
By that I mean I just want to clarify. It goes from your bank to the
bank to developer.
Yeah. You don't lose it. It's just
in the long run they're making.
Yeah. What's the best joke you tell a buyer?
Go on.
The price. Doesn't matter if it's 2019. It's dirt cheap.
Yep.
Everyone says it's overpriced regardless. So this one's mine.
Okay.
No, I think
I'm expecting a bit better on this one.
I just recently taught my dog how to speak in English. And one would say that's impossible. But every time I ask my dog, Pablo, what's the state of the UK currently? Pablo says, rough, rough.
He's not wrong. He's definitely not wrong.
It'll get better, don't worry. So usually I book this studio in for an hour. But today, since I knew you were coming, I booked it out for 200 years. Because that's how long it took you guys last time to leave. No, you don't want to laugh.
that was not that great. The first one was better.
Okay, this one is like proper. I wrote this down. So I had a phone stolen in London, and then I called the Met Police, and they said we checked the CCTV. We can confirm that your phone did get stolen, but we can't identify the suspects, and we can't do anything about it. But you know what? We understand this is a stressful time. Here's the victim helpline. And then they gave me stats about how many phones get stolen in London every few minutes. And I said, is that the best you can do? I'm from Dubai. Is there nothing else you can do? And they said, well, us British police, we can do something that Dubai police can't do. Guess what they did?
What did they do?
Anyway, thought I'd get a lot bigger laughs at that, but it's okay.
I'm trying.
I don't have to prove myself. I've won Frog and Bucket Manchester, so it's okay. I know I'm funny.
I've seen a few videos of you.
Okay.
I've seen a few things, so I know you are funny. But yeah,
let's talk about you now.
Go on.
Whereabouts are you from? What did you do in the UK, and what brought you here?
So I'm from Northwest London / Hertfordshire in the UK. I've worked for LEOS for quite a while now. So for a few years in the UK, I was in land acquisitions and asset management. So that was dealing with, buying the plots of land that we were looking to develop on. Obviously, there's some certain requirements that you have to go by.
This was also LEOS?
Yeah, this was also for LEOS as well. So I was part of the British team or UK team. We're mostly developing in and around central London, but we've done some things up and down the UK. Yeah. Obviously, a global developer already. So I was doing land acquisitions there, went quite well. And then about 3 years ago, they started getting into the Dubai market, and I saw how things were going, and I just had to sort of transition out into the UAE. And to be honest, it's a very good decision for myself. 100%. I think, coming out here, it's allowed me, it's a bit easier lifestyle. Obviously, the tax benefits are great for me as well. And I just think business out here moves so much quicker.
Okay. How old were you when you moved?
I was just turned 23.
Okay.
So it was the day after my 23rd birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
But what was it like living in the UK, working for the same company there versus here? What's changed for you, except for the tax?
To be honest, in terms of I think they still bring quite a British culture to the office in Dubai. So similar culture in terms of working here. There's lots of UK people in the office. So similar culture. But I think in terms of who I'm dealing with on a daily basis, it's completely different.
Okay.
UK landowners, are very notoriously known for being hard to deal with.
Okay.
There's obviously everyone thinks they're sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah.
So when a large developer comes over and they see our profile, they think they can charge us crazy amounts. And, you've got to appraise things and work things out and negotiate.
Yeah.
But some people are just impossible to negotiate with. Whereas in Dubai, it's very straightforward. This is the price. This, certain discounts you can't get depending on the deal basis. And it's a lot more straightforward. Even in the land acquisition side of things, a lot more straightforward.
So you grew up northwest of London.
Yeah.
How was it like living there while you were there, which was like a year ago until a year ago?
Yeah, about a year ago, I fully moved, transitioned into UAE. Living in northwest London, it's a really nice part of London to be in for me. I was constantly in and out of central London, going down to Selfridges, Oxford Circus. So I grew up, socializing in those areas as well. I think for me, I was in more of like a suburban neighborhood, so it was a bit quieter.
Yeah.
You still got green open spaces, all these sorts of things, large gardens. I did enjoy growing up there 100%, and there's a lot of culture there, lots of different experiences and people. When you're younger, you don't notice it as much. Obviously, certain things like the crime rates and, even the weather, smallest things like the weather. And as you grow up, you want to experience the world. You want to see how other people live, different cultures. So coming out of that bubble was a big sort of like mind-blowing moment that things aren't as small as just where I came from.
Okay. So you mentioned the crime rate while you were there. So I understand you were younger, but then maybe is it that you're now exposed to a lot more of the news and you find out what's happened right next door? Or
it's the news. Obviously, I think when you get into your early teens, you start obviously taking a bit more of an interest, and then you're out. When you're in your early teens, you start going out by yourself, with friends, and you get exposed to these things. Your parents aren't there to protect you.
What did your parents think about you moving here?
I think they saw it as a great opportunity. So I still get calls from my mum on a weekly basis, having a breakdown, missing me a lot, obviously. But they understand that the money that can be made out here, the lifestyle out here, it's a big difference, and it's ultimately, it can set you up for life if you do things correctly.
So you say lifestyle. How has your lifestyle changed here?
Way more relaxing. In the UK,
Dubai is more relaxing.
Dubai is way more relaxing.
Okay.
When you go to the UK, and the things that you can actually experience in the UK, if you go out with friends, you've got minimal options.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, you've got going to the pub, going to a nightclub, or going out for dinner.
Okay.
Whereas in Dubai, there's so many more tourist attractions that you can do. It's more endless. You can do safaris, beach clubs. The nightlife's still brilliant. And then there's so many more different activities that you can experience, different areas and different things you can do compared to when you're in the UK. It's just the same regimen over and over again.
I guess it's a stupid question to ask a young 24-year-old about why he likes single 24.
Still 23.
Really?
Still 23,
okay. Okay. What's it been like selling for LEOS? What do you like about the product? And before that, actually, what have you learned about this market, the property market, compared to, you've been with London's property market as well. So what's the change?
10 times faster.
That's the first thing, right?
10 times faster. The speed of transactions. I know it was in the land acquisition side, so I'm dealing things at £10 million more. Which is almost 50 million dirhams. Not everyone's exposed to that over here. Whereas, in the UK, there's AML, there's lawyers, there's exchange, there's completion, which agents in the UK will be very frustrated by. because the time it takes you to get paid out on a deal or to get something completed can take up almost 3 months.
Yeah.
3 years even.
What?
If I do a land deal, we do it subject to planning permission.
Oh yeah.
So obviously planning's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, Dubai basically tell you what you can and can't build because it's pro-development. In the UK, you've got to argue the fact that you need to put residential here.
Yeah.
You know, the area benefits from it.
Really?
And so if I do something subject to planning, by the time you get the deal agreed, and it gets exchanged, you won't get completed until you get planning permission. So then you could be stuck on a deal for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's not even down to you because you're not part of the planning team.
Yeah.
So you put all that effort into, you know, negotiating with these, you know, difficult landowners, and you're getting the price right. You're doing the numbers. You're making sure it can sell and how many units you can get on there and all of this stuff. And that can take you a 3 to 6 month period. You close the deal, 3 years later, it all falls through because the planning permission's not gone through.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot more bureaucracy involved from the government side.
Exactly.
And just the process and how it's laid out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously you come to the UAE.
Yeah.
You look at a piece of land, you get in touch with the landowner through the agent, and you know what you can build.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You can work out whether or not the landowner is asking for good money, or if it's a good deal or not, essentially. And then when it comes to selling the units, you know, all these people on the payment plans, it's 20% down payment.
Yeah.
You know, and you can pay that off over maybe 30 days.
Yeah.
So for people, it's a lot. We might not have the funds right there and then, need to get it released, things like this. It's just easy to book units and easy to sell. And for me, it just moves 10 times faster in the UK.
Yeah, I struggle with this because this is the most important thing that most of the UK investors have a tough time getting their heads around, that the speed is so fast, and they think that we're just, you know, being salesy here. But then, you know, from the back end, there's like 70,000 others like me who are working on
like you
either the
like
same
me.
And yourself.
If we've got 70 to 100 people in the back office, and there's only a certain amount of units which are, you know, they're in demand. They're the best units.
In any project, regardless of the developer, there's like a handful. The cream of the
cream of the crop that everyone is sending out to their agents.
Yeah.
These are the units that are going to make your investors happy.
Yeah.
So it's not just me selling it to all my agents. It's 70 other people with their own networks.
Yeah.
So things do just move quickly because there's people out here ready to transact within a second. If they see something, they buy it.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's just internationally there are so many people that, you know, you're competing with the whole world to buy that unit. Yeah.
You've got so many different nationalities within our office.
Yeah.
Who are then expanding out to other nationalities and different brokerages and different agents who have worldwide connections. Your time is against you always.
Yeah.
It's definitely against you.
Yeah, I've seen like transactions in the UK where the buyers are like, you know what, next week can have a plan to come out to Manchester from, let's say, London, and then I'll take a look at it and then I'll see, and that's fine. That's okay. The unit's going to be there. That's not the case.
That's normal.
Yeah. That's not the case here. So on your perspective, through your perspective as a developer, you can have a land that you buy and you have floor plans out, you have the design, and now before you even bring the property on the market, before the launch, you've actually collected enough EOIs, or EOIs, it's basically sold out.
Yeah. Everything
or the good units are gone.
The good units are gone before delivery, before it gets handed over. It's going to be sold out. Most likely, from my experience, we haven't got anything in still in our inventory that's either close to completion within sort of a year.
Yeah,
you know, you look at Hadley Heights 1 in JVC, that sold out coming up to 9 months ago. Same with Weybridge Gardens, the Weybridge Gardens series 1, 2, and 3, and they're still Hadley Heights obviously handing over early. But that wasn't supposed to hand over till the end of this year. Yeah. So you've got to move quickly. You've got to see an opportunity. And I think the key for investors is working with agents that you trust and you know, are doing it for your best intentions, because they want repeat purchase to resell the unit or referrals. Yeah.
I'm going to do another video on why they need an agent. That's an hour-long topic in itself. But I went to Hadley Heights with you, and then we saw it, and there was a very high spec development there. But yeah, just want to discuss where you think LEOS is within the entire market. Where you think you're placed, where is it going? and why people should be investing now with you guys?
I think for us, it's getting in at the start of the journey still. We're only 3 years deep into our time in Dubai, in the UAE in a whole. You know, Hadley Heights launched just over 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago. I think where we place in the market quality-wise, I get links from clients and agents to sort of Shoba, Ellington quality, which, you know, I appreciate a lot. I think what we're doing for our first projects is on par with what they're doing as well. But I think the quality in Dubai in general is rising when you see some of these new projects.
Yeah.
And then where we're sort of going in the market, we've started obviously townhouses, villa communities on the smaller side, 100 to 200 units, small clusters within master communities. But the next step, I believe, will be a master community with a range of products going from, you know, townhouses at 3 to 5 million range up to villas potentially over 30 to 35 million. So these are things that we'll definitely progressing with.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw Hadley Heights, I could tell that this is a British developer just because of the design. I believe really the owner and founder is an architect himself.
Originally came architectural background. I believe he was a professor in the UK and teaching architecture as well.
And I can see that with the design language that you guys have, because I think a lot of the developers are just doing copy paste, and it's just a standard design. Yeah, like you pay a small time architect, and then you know, they come out with something
very simple.
That is why I think a lot of people think out in the West that Dubai is a bit soulless. And then comes in, you know, developers like yourself, and there are some others, but who are really pushing the boundary when it comes to architecture and design. And so I think that's really good what you guys are doing there. Another thing I wanted you to talk about is because this is something that I haven't seen properly advertised by anyone, but this is something that is a key selling point, I think, for me when it comes to LEOS, is the payment plans. No one else has openly said these are the 3 to choose from. You got 3, right?
Yeah, on the apartments we've got 3. So when we do an apartment project, we've got 3 different payment plans.
So you've got 2 different post handovers.
Yeah.
And then one which is a 50-50.
50-50 on completion.
Yeah. So that's like for everyone, it's like choose whatever you like. And then another interesting thing you guys don't do is that you don't increase the price.
Yeah, no interest on depending on the payment plan, which you see in other developers.
Yeah, which is like that again. That's a whole 1-hour conversation. But
definitely.
So a bit more about going back to the lifestyle bit. So obviously there's no taxes, etc. And like, what do you think is the difference in the work culture here compared to the UK? I know it's similar because it's the same company. But because I need to tell them that we were working on Christmas Eve, and you work hard enough for me to, you know, almost pass you as an Indian.
I was
So
was it Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Christmas Day.
I think it was Christmas
25th.
Day, the 25th. Look, the work culture is 24/7. I know I said it's UK,
because I know that's not. Yeah, it's
UK
not
work
UK.
culture.
It's not 9 to 5.
It's a Dubai thing. It's 24/7.
Yeah.
Because if there's an opportunity for me to make £1,000 or £100,000, I'm gonna take it. Why not? Yeah. Things move quickly. It all adds up.
Not just that. I mean, there's Australians, and then there's British.
It's the time differences on a global level, and then obviously different cultures. Like we said, we were working Christmas Day. Yeah. Other cultures don't see that as Christmas Day. It's a normal day to these guys. Yeah. So you have to be in, and I think we closed that deal as well. And it was I think we were there at about 11 p.m. we left. Yeah,
on the 25th.
On the 25th.
I'm surprised.
And, so I was working Christmas Day. It's just part of the culture, fully trying to put myself into that Dubai lifestyle and work ethic, and it pays off. It definitely pays off. And I don't think it's worth, you know, being like, it's Christmas Day, I'm not coming in. Yeah. You know,
it's not like that here.
It's not like that here. Yeah. You know, for me, I don't have my family here. Yeah. So it's not like I was, you know, sat at dinner having family time.
Having turkey,
eating turkey, opening presents, talking to my grandma. I was fully available. I think I'd spent the morning in a beach club or something like this, you know, just lounging around.
I know where you are at all times.
I like to enjoy myself. Like I said, embracing myself fully in the culture. Yeah. In that Dubai lifestyle. But that was a long day. That was a long day, that Christmas.
Yeah, so that is different in my opinion. Yeah, and you would do it when it's tax free. Yeah, of course. You know, you're working overtime, you're getting paid, and then you're not paying any taxes on it.
It just makes sense to come in.
Yeah.
There's no
But
reason
I
not to.
know for a fact this gets taken way out of context in the West. That really cares
It's
about.
ridiculous having to work
It
Christmas
is ridiculous.
Day.
Yeah.
Where it's not a national holiday here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't treat it just because I'm from the UK.
Yeah.
I've moved here. I've made the choice to live in Dubai.
Yeah.
It's part of the package in a sense.
Yeah. You're making the choice to integrate into this society and then
to embrace,
provide value.
Exactly, provide value. I'm giving back to the society I'm living in. You know, I'm selling a unit on Christmas Day. I'm doing deals on Christmas Eve and New Year's Day.
Where are most of your buyers from?
I've got a lot of UK buyers come through. Obviously, that comes from being a British company. There's a lot of trust from the UK.
Yeah.
I know because they're very skeptical. It usually helps having that background. I've got a lot of Israeli clients as well who are looking to invest a lot in Dubai.
Okay.
They really see what's going on here. They appreciate the concepts and what they're building.
Yeah.
And they like to put a lot of money over here. Obviously, taxes are high there, so it helps them out as well.
Really, over there?
Yeah.
What are taxes like that?
I think you're looking somewhere between 40 and 50% on the high end when you're living in Israel. So having the outlet to come here is very appealing to them.
Why do you think the Brits are coming? Is it just the taxes?
I think the taxes, the lifestyle, you know, there's a lot of attractive things in Dubai that you don't get in the UK, whether it's the taxes, the weather, the lifestyle, the job opportunities, even raising a family here can be attractive to a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. That's what I've noticed recently because it's like both the right wing and the left wing in the UK want to come here. I thought it's just the right because of the taxes. But then it's attractive for both sides because if you read the news and say Portugal and Spain, they don't want people to come in anymore. There's protests out there, and that was like the hot spot of retirement.
Yeah.
And now these people are coming over and they're looking for permanent homes ever since the visa thing happened, golden visa. And now they made it even easier. So
they've made it very easy for UK buyers to come over here, definitely. I think, look, it's a combination of things. Like I said, it's the lifestyle. Even the quality of education out here is held to a very high standard. And then the job opportunities. You know, anyone who's going from, 100K a year back home can come here and pick up a job for the same, but it's all theirs. You know, it's all theirs. There's nothing to really, you're not worrying about taxes. Things I think are a little bit more expensive here, but I think
really, like what?
I'd say groceries is one. Depending on where you shop, can be a little bit more expensive. Obviously, if you're drinking alcohol in the restaurants and beach clubs, you're going to be spending...
Compared to the UK.
Yeah.
That's what I missed, £5 beer,
£5 pints. Here, you're looking close to £10. I've been to places
minimum,
£15 on a pint before here. And I need to shed a tear. Honestly. But yeah, I think there's so many attractive things for families, even individuals to come here and make something of themselves. You see a lot of people that maybe don't have, a degree back home, which is highly regarded in the UK, come here, get into real estate, and they really do make something of themselves, and they make the most of the opportunity. So it's bringing the best out in other people as well.
I think what a lot of people forget to talk about is that the mindset is very different here compared to the UK. Everywhere I went, all my friends there, like the dinner conversation can be politics and policies and all of these things. It's not a concept here. You don't have to talk about the government because they're doing all the right things. What are you going to complain about?
And you don't have anything to complain about the way they treat their people.
I mean, even if you do, if you've seen those posts where there's a pothole on the road, they just tag RTA and they come
it's gone.
Yeah,
it's I mean, it's the speed in which they're performing tasks. You know, when you go to the UK and you're paying high tax, and then getting a pothole, fixed on your road is really difficult. It takes a lot of complaining. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Something as small as that, it just helps with the ease of life, and helps people get on with their life, perform to their maximum. I
think most of the conversations there are about what's happened in the past, and it's a fight between each other.
Definitely.
Yeah. Just people just have different perspectives about things. And over here, it's much more about individual growth, and everyone's just worried about, am I better than yesterday? Because if you're ruler, if the government's statement is that, you know, I don't care if you're a lion or a deer. I think there's something like that. When you wake up in the morning, you better run.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the lifestyle here. You have to hustle, and you're adding value to society, which is not a thing that is. When I went there, it's like I felt like a criminal because I wanted to work beyond 5 p.m. And
People think you're insane. If you're
Yeah.
working beyond sort of 5, 6 p.m., I
Yeah.
used to finish at 6 p.m. at the office hours. So it was 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. for LEOS. And a lot of my friends, they finish at 4:30, 5.
Yeah.
And that extra hour, they thought I was crazy that I had to do that.
Yeah.
But over here, working till 10 p.m., 1 a.m. even, sometimes I've been in the office till sort of 2 a.m. just doing admin work and just catching up on my day. It's normal.
I know I'm loving this part of the conversation. I know how this is going to get taken. Like from some people, like they would say working till 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. is just
Ludicrous.
they can't think about it.
They can't comprehend it. But then if you do that in the UK, are you reaping the rewards?
Yeah.
Whereas here, you definitely will.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like work hard and reap the rewards for yourself.
Yeah.
And in the UK, it's not so much.
Yeah, because I go to work at 11 a.m. So no traffic.
Yeah.
And then I work till 12 or 1 usually. So works in my favor that way as well. I would say, what's something that you think the UK is doing better that we can do? Or just something you miss about the UK? Is it like how people make it seem in social media this is a better place? Or is it like there's things to offer?
Overall, yes.
Yeah.
Dubai is definitely, for me, a better place to be living. But then I miss, obviously, it's real personal things for me. Family, friends. I think for me, like just pub culture as well. English pub culture is something that you just don't get out here. You have Irish pubs and, you know, McGettigans. You've got the Duck Cook as well in Dubai Hills. We can get roast dinners. It's just got something missing where it's just not quite the same atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I miss in the UK. And I think the UK summers as well.
Yeah.
I think being in the summer in the UK is...
No, but winters in Dubai is pretty similar.
Winter in Dubai is pretty similar.
2 or 3 months are very similar.
So having that mix would be perfect. You know, coming back 6 to 8 weeks in the UK, you know, a bit of time off is great. And then coming back for the rest of the year, sort of 10 months of the year, and just in nicer weather conditions. Obviously, it gets crazy hot here.
Yeah.
Having those nice weather conditions and just smashing out the work, it's the best way to do it, I think. It's the healthiest way.
Yeah. I mean, I understand about your perspective that your friends and family are there.
Mm-hmm.
But lately, most of the people I speak to now, compared to 5 years ago. So 5, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, the Brits who were coming in investing were like proper first-time investors in the sense that they had nobody to rely on except for me or some agent or the developer's agent. Yeah. So that's the only source of info they had. But now there's been a generation of investors who've already, or of people who've moved here already.
Yeah, case studies.
Everyone I speak to has a friend who lives here.
Yeah.
Or has someone who lives here.
Yeah, so to my friends, I'm that person. I'm that person that's moved out here and says that they love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, it's just personal things, just the little personal things where, you know, the UK will always be my home.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really see anything in the UK that I'm missing in terms of a lifestyle.
Okay.
Day to day, you know, not getting on the train an hour into work and back, getting to central London to get to the office was the worst part of my day. You finish at 6 p.m. I get home at like 7. It's dark outside. You know, it brings you down a little bit. It can definitely affect your work ethic.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that here. I think the weather helps massively for me. It really technically brightens up my day.
Yeah.
And it makes me just feel like I want to go out. I want to close deals. I want to get on the phones.
Yeah.
And then you step out and it's still light outside. It's hot. And you feel like you can go to the gym. You can go to sit by your pool or go for dinner and these things like that. But in the UK, I just wanted to get home. You know, you want to get home, get the shoes off, relax, and sort of just end your day there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's energy levels.
Yeah.
Energy levels are just higher here. And I think that's from the people around you and the atmosphere that's creating in the office. Everyone's 24/7 and you don't want to be left behind at all here.
Yeah.
If you get left behind, you're going home very quickly.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you're not willing to go make the calls,
yeah,
you know, get in meetings, meet the right people and close deals,
imagine if
Dubai's not for you.
Imagine if the UK did that, unless you're providing value to the society. You get to stay here or go back.
For me, look, I don't want to say too much, but it makes sense.
You
know, come here, provide, give back to the community, put the work in, make something of yourself, and you know,
and then you've got a golden visa. You buy a property for 2 million dirhams. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can, you know, what's 2 million dirhams is roughly like 500,000 pounds.
420.
420.
Yeah. Now.
So if you went and bought something, if they had that same rule in the UK, you see a different standard of people coming there.
Yeah.
And those people will be the ones that are working hard, that want to provide, and they want to make money, and technically they'll still be paying tax.
Yeah.
And they're giving back to society.
What I'm seeing now is that they don't really, most of them are sort of semi-retiring or retiring, and they're liquidating everything there because they're thinking all of the rent that I get, let's say it could be £10,000 or £20,000 a month. Why am I paying tax on this? If I just liquidate and move it here, you know, it's...
the thing with liquidating though in the UK,
I know.
You're going to lose some money.
You're
going to lose some money. So it's having almost that idea of, okay, I'm okay with losing that much because I've made this much over a 10-year period or 20 years on owning that property. You liquidate everything, you might lose 24 to 28% on the capital gains. Yeah. But then what you're getting value for money wise over here, I think is definitely worth it.
I mean, some of them are taking equity out from the bank and then...
Yeah. So another option.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed. What do you think about the returns compared between the two countries?
In terms of, look, I think with Dubai, it's very dependent on where you're investing, what areas, what projects.
Yeah. Not everything is gold.
Not everything's gold.
Yeah.
So you've got to be smart about things. I think if you're looking at investing and holding something for a 20-year period, obviously you still got to be smart about where you're investing, but you can't really go too wrong. I think the price points are so far behind from the UK and other major countries. It's going to jump within those sort of 20 years, somewhere between 50 and 25%, maybe more, to catch up in terms of just average prices leveling out. As it becomes more of a major city, as population grows, you're going to see those prices rise on average. So over Dubai as a whole, you're going to see prices go up.
Yeah. I recently spoke to someone who came in to Dubai, who was coming in, and he has already opened up a company where he's going to digitize the properties and assets and sell off tokens to people in the UK.
Okay.
Like a REIT, like a real estate investment fund or trust. Something like
so it's almost like a crowd fund for so you own a certain percentage of that property.
So now if people are doing all of these different things, and if the ultra wealthy of the UK and the upper middle class, if everyone's starting to come here, obviously the prices will, and that's just one country. You know, we're not even talking about India or all the others.
Exactly. There's so many on a global level.
Yeah.
Everyone's coming here. You know, you're getting so much demand from all over the globe. You just don't see it.
Takes the average prices up.
Exactly. Population grows. You know, the population is going to become more dense over the smaller area of Dubai. Yeah. But I think you can even look at the UAE as a whole and what's going on in Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah.
Casino and Disneyland, which is the right and left.
Where people aren't just going to... You see right now they come to Dubai for holidays and trips, but they'll end up coming to the UAE. You know, you've got Disneyland coming in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. You've obviously got the Wynn Casino in Al Marjan. Yeah. So then you'll see people do a 2-week-long trip, spend some time in Abu Dhabi, some time in Dubai, and then some time in Ras Al Khaimah as well. So I think you'll see that transition as well, which obviously helps your sort of short-term holiday home investors.
Yeah, I think tourism is definitely going to explode once those two things are ready. And that's why I've been, talking to a lot of investors, and there's a lot of interest in these two areas, even though they're just very new. It's like one of those things when back in 2004, Dubai was new.
Ground floor, getting in on the ground floor and just taking the elevator up. Yeah.
Back to LEOS. And if you can just quickly go over the payment plans, because they've been
of course,
how they work and what the choice is really.
So with apartments, the choices will be a 50-50 on completion. So that's 50% during the construction phase, and then 50% on the handover. Then you've got a 60-40 2-year post handover, and a 65-35 3-year post handover. So essentially with those post handovers, it means you'll be paying 40 or 35%, depending on the choice you make.
After you receive the keys from LEOS.
After you receive the keys, over a 2 or a 3 year period, depending on obviously which one you choose. They appeal to different investors.
Yeah.
So anyone who's looking to hold a unit and rent it out, you most likely would go for a post handover.
Yeah.
Because that rent then goes towards your payment plan.
Yeah.
And what that means is if you ever do go to flip, you've put so much less equity in.
Yeah.
Because your rent's covered the post handover payments.
Majority of it, yeah.
So if you can get a really good project where your post handover, where your rent covers your post handover,
yeah.
you could be putting 60 or 65% equity into a project. And that means when you do go to flip it, you're making a larger margin on your money and your actual the capital that you've put into the project.
Yeah, which goes back to the same thing. You just give it time to let it nurture the property. Yeah,
exactly.
Especially with the new laws coming up with quality. So what would you say LEOS is doing that's different from the competition within your segment?
So if I was to point out the townhouse and villa projects we're doing, we actually offer guarantees. So we offer any sort of waterproofing guarantee on all of our townhouse and villa projects. So what that means, I believe they're around a 10-year period. So I think it was around last year when we had the floods here.
Yeah.
And so for us, we'll go and cover that for you. Okay. So that's a USP that we like to bring out on our higher end townhouse and villa projects. And then in terms of what you're doing in apartments and townhouse and villas, I think having those British standards, we've got in-house project management, in-house quality assurance team brought over from our UK team, UK department.
Yeah.
In the UK, your houses are meant to last 20 years before, things start to happen to them where, wear and tear. You want to have a sort of 15, 20-year period. I think the lifetime in Dubai is roughly around the 5 to 10-year period before you see some major wear and tear issues.
I've seen it before then, yeah.
So I think having those standards brought over here and being a British company, we're expanding the lifetime that you have with your property. So if you can avoid major wear and tear issues, plumbing, just any of the heating issues or aircon issues here, having that for a 15, 20-year period, these are big repairs. It means you're putting less equity into the property over that time. So then you're having less fixes, less wear and tear, damage, anything like that needs to be reprimanded. You're gonna
that's above the new law that's taken place about quality, and each property is going to be given up to a 5-star rating, and depending on that you can increase the rent or you can't.
I think that's a really good thing for Dubai because people charge based off location and square footage. Yeah, where now you'll really see what's worth renting, what's worth buying, and where you stand in the market.
Yeah, basically what the government thinks of the building.
Yeah, and that's
like a hotel.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be really important, having that regulate the rental market.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to point out, when I visited Manchester and I saw a couple of developments there, and I saw this culture of, because there's so many students there, so some of the developers there have this space on the ground floor and the top floor where students come and study together, co-study, like co-working spaces. Yeah, which I haven't seen in Dubai, which have, outside of hotels, I haven't seen that in residential spaces. But when I saw that you've got a few developments close to
in the Weybridge Garden series.
Yes.
And that's where so obviously that's
why I knew that you guys are bringing that British element, because you understand what an area close to universities should offer. Yeah.
So actually in the UK, we've actually been a part of doing some student accommodation.
Okay.
But in more of a joint venture structure.
Okay.
We did something called Loughborough Junction many years ago, before even my time there. So we're used to knowing what you need when you're near these locations.
Yeah.
And with the Weybridge Garden series, you're 5-10 minute drive from Academic City. So and then also on top of that, you've got Silicon Oasis, which has a large amount of employment in. So these people may work from home some days or just want to do extra time.
Yeah.
They can go home, do that, and then have a space, a communal area where they're capable of getting work done. Yeah. And I think it's just an important amenity to have when you're next to a location like that. It's about understanding who your end user is.
Yeah. I haven't seen anyone do that really.
I think I've seen one or two.
Yeah.
but they are
High end or
either high end, which something in Business Bay has it.
either
A
that
lot
or
of
something super high
studios.
end, or like the
Yeah.
address hotels. These places have it, but then that is the location that needs it.
For having it on maybe your mid-range product,
Yeah.
it's unusual.
Yeah. The reason I like selling LEOS is because you guys are not, you don't have that massive brand name yet. You have to provide sort of very high quality for a value for money deal.
I think it's not even just the quality. I think it's the aftercare and the customer service.
Yeah.
And as a sales manager at LEOS, staying in contact with the brokers after you've collected down payment and SPA signed, making sure everything's smooth for them, because eventually clients will want to come back.
Yeah.
When whether that's a few years down the line or if they've got enough money to reinvest, they're going to opt for who they had the best process with. And I think keeping a clear line of communication with the client and the broker is really important as a sales manager. And then just having good, aftercare sales is really important.
Yeah, appreciate you coming down.
No problem.
And I wish you best of luck for
Thank you.
what you're doing in LEOS. I know you're working hard, and I really love seeing that. And it's been a good, journey selling with you. And I like how transparent, you've been and with my buyers. And I like how different the culture is in your office.
Definitely.
Compared to the others, and hopefully we'll sell a lot together.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks
for coming.